We're at the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame with Jason Chung, who's the interim curator here, and what a fascinating place. You've got some great artifacts. What's your favorite?
My favorite would probably be the Olympic trophy, which is actually not here. It's at the course in Hamilton, but I think that would definitely be my favorite.
Well, it's interesting because the Olympics have not had golf for quite some time. They'll resume again in Rio in 4 years, and so everybody's thinking about Olympics and golf, right?
It's true, yeah. It's been a big hit.
Well, there are so many great displays, but one of them really got my attention, and that was Stanley Thompson, who's probably Canada's most famous golf architect.
Yeah, I'd say so. He's one of the biggest, definitely one of the biggest names, and he's created so many of the big courses around the country, and as you can see from the map and the display, it just spans the entire country. So yeah, he's definitely, we're really glad to have that display. The desk is actually his desk that was used by him, and that's been loaned to us generously by the Stanley Thompson Society.
Well, you almost ran out of space for pins on that map, but I also noticed his assistants, and one of his assistants was Robert Trent Jones Jr. Wow.
Yeah, that's right. When you see a lot of the people that have worked with him, there's a lot of really big names, and it just kind of, you can see how much influence he had on golf course design.
Well, in terms of people who are actually inducted into the Hall of Fame, some of the names that people would be most familiar with are Mike Weir and Mo Norman. How about talking about each of them a bit?
Yeah, sure. So Mo Norman is, of course, a lot of people are learning a lot more about him now, but until recently he's kind of like, a lot of people were surprised that they didn't know anything about this amazing ball striker. So now he's getting a lot more attention. Recently, Lauren Rubenstein released a book called Mo and Me. It's been a really, really well-received book, and there's a lot of great stories in there about Lauren's interactions with Mo. It kind of gives you good insight into who he was, because he was kind of a character, and a lot of people just didn't really know him. And I've heard, I don't know if this is for a fact, but I've heard there's a movie in the makes. So I'm not sure, I've heard it's Disney, so I don't know any details about it, but there's rumors about that, so that would be very interesting.
What would really be interesting was trying to get somebody actually hit the shots that he did.
Yeah, we might need some CGI. It would be very difficult to recreate that.
And of course, Mike Weir is somebody we've been following for a long time because he's right across the river in Sarnia, Ontario, from Michigan, and the Masters champion 2003.
So Mike Weir was inducted in 2009, and the induction ceremony was here, and he was here for that. And he was one of the few people to be inducted into the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame before being inducted into the Provincial Hall of Fame. So in his case, it would have been Ontario. And so he's one of our more popular, like a lot of people know a lot about him, so aren't surprised to see that he's in the Hall of Fame. And definitely kind of a homegrown hero, and we're all rooting for him this year.
I think my favorite Mike Weir performance was at the President's Cup when it was played here in Canada, and he just hit some great shots because there was so much pressure on him.
Yes, there's a lot of pressure, especially, it's kind of every time he's out there being the Canadian hero, there's a lot of pressure on him to win, especially the Canadian Open, because we haven't had a Canadian champion since Pat Fletcher in 1954. So when he was close in 2006, I believe it was, and he lost to VJ in a playoff. So we were close. We were almost there.
Well, it's the Canadian Open, but it certainly attracts a huge international field of Americans and like VJs from Fiji, and you get quite a few Europeans. So it's pretty exciting to see the history of the Canadian Open itself.
It is, yeah. It's a great tournament, and long history since 1904, and definitely attracts players from around the world and some of the best. And we're really excited this year, especially to have Ernie after recently right off his win. So we're glad that he's here, and yeah, we're looking forward to it. So far, so good.
So next year it will be right here at Glen Abbey, and for those who don't know, this course was designed by Jack Nicklaus, who is also a member of the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame. Not as a player, though.
No, actually as a builder for his work designing golf courses, and also particularly Glen Abbey. So as you know, Glen Abbey was the home to the Open for quite a long time. It's hosted the Canadian Open, I believe, 25 times. So next year would be the 26th. So yeah, and he's been pretty influential in designing a lot of courses here in Canada. So, but of course, we all acknowledge his ability as a player.
Well, it's fun to see the other side of him. Well, congratulations on just a great Hall of Fame and a great museum. We've had fun here.
Thank you very much. It's been great having you, and glad to talk to you guys.
You're welcome.